Hey everyone, welcome. Today, we're going to unpack a really powerful framework for creating brand new, high-quality products and processes right from scratch. It's called the DMADV method. All right, let's just jump right in with a scenario. Imagine your company's flagship product, the one that used to be the leader, is starting to feel, well, a little behind the times. So what do you do? Do you pour a ton of resources into fixing its flaws? Or do you take a much bolder step and design something completely new? This is a huge decision that pretty much every business has to face at some point. And you know that fork in the road? That's exactly where quality management comes in. It offers two totally different maps to follow, one for making what you have better and another for creating what's next. So on one hand, you've got DMAIC. Now that's a Six Sigma method all about improving a process that already exists. It's about hunting down and fixing problems. But on the other side, and this is what we're really digging into today, is DMADV. This is the framework for creation. It's about building a new product or process from the ground up, with the goal of embedding quality from the very first blueprint. Okay, so before we get into the nuts and bolts of the DMAD steps, we've got to get our heads around the philosophy behind it. It's really a whole mindset shift in how we even think about quality. And this really boils down to a super powerful idea inspired by the engineer Junichi Taguchi. You can't inspect quality into a product after it's already made, right? Quality can't be some afterthought you tack on at the end. It has to be a core ingredient that's baked right into the design itself. And that idea is at the heart of something called Design for Quality, or DFQ for short. And listen, this isn't just about spreadsheets and technical specs. It's a much bigger, more holistic approach that says true quality is really defined by the customer's experience. Does the product actually solve their problem? Is it built to last? Can they depend on it? That's the real test of a great design. And this is where the rubber meets the road. When you design for quality from the get-go, you're not just making your customers happier, you're making your whole business smarter. Think about it. You slash all those costs that come from inspection, rework, and scrap because you're preventing the flaws from ever happening in the first place. This proactive approach saves time, it saves money, and you end up with a way better product. So the big question is, how do we actually do this? How do we put this whole philosophy into practice? Well, that's where the DMADV roadmap comes in. It's a structured 5-phase guide to get you from that initial idea to a finished, high-quality product. Okay, here's a great way to picture it. You can see the 5 phases right there. Define, measure, analyze, design, and verify. It's this clean, continuous loop that guides you through the whole creation process, making sure every single step is driven by data and focused on that end goal. All right, let's quickly walk through what each of these phases is all about. It all kicks off with defining your goals and what your customers actually need. From there, you measure the risks and the factors that are critical to quality. These are the absolute make or break features for your customer. Next up, you analyze a bunch of different design options. Once you've picked the best one, you move into the detailed design phase. And finally, you verify that the new design actually works as intended with real-world tests. Now hold on a second. I want to pause here and point out something really important, because it's a detail that a lot of people get mixed up. The difference between the analyze and design phases, it's probably not what you think. All right, so here's the surprising part. Most of the really creative, out-of-the-box design work, it actually happens in the analyze phase. Yeah, you heard that right, not the design phase. So let's break that down, because it's a huge deal. Think of the analyze phase as all about divergence. You're exploring, you're creating multiple design alternatives, you're brainstorming all these different conceptual ideas. Then, after you've looked at everything and picked the absolute best one, you move to the design phase. And that phase is all about convergence, taking that single chosen design and building it out in high detail, prototyping it, and locking in all the final specifications. So what happens when you put it all together? You've got this powerful philosophy, you've got this structured framework. What's the real payoff? Well, it's about creating something that doesn't just work on day one, but something that is truly built to last. And the payoff, honestly, is immense. We're talking about products that customers absolutely love because you started with their needs from the very beginning. You create solutions that are actually maintainable and robust. You save a ton of money, you get to market faster, and you boost productivity. It's a win-win-win across the board. And this really gets to the heart of the whole mindset shift. You're completely changing the game. You're moving away from that old reactive approach of just catching mistakes at the end of the production line. Instead, you're playing offense. You are proactively designing a system where those mistakes can't even happen in the first place. And that really leaves us with one last thing to think about. We've talked a lot about products and business processes, but this way of thinking, of defining goals, measuring what's critical, and designing for success from the very start, you can apply it to almost anything. So my question to you is, where in your world could you use a structured approach like this to build something even better?